Sonic Adventure 2 had a lot of deep and impactful story beats during its main campaign, and there are numerous moments from this game that other people have talked about and dissected, and each one of them is very impactful and meaningful in their own way. SA2 just had a lot of thought put into every single detail, and a lot of games from that era had that much energy put into it. I feel like as a gamer, we all have this like desire to experience a piece of art or a game that the developers put so much time and effort into, and every little detail has a purpose. When they created Shadow, his lore was very, very deep. In every way, he was the ultimate rival to Sonic. Even their first levels, City Escape and Radical Highway, are very different. The color scheme matches the character you're playing as. These details are lost in future Sonic games, and this video is talking about a specific moment in the story that I feel like doesn't really get talked about, and that's the battle with the Biolizard. So throughout the story of Sonic Adventure 2, small hints are given about the horrors and the things that happened on this space colony that is just devoid of life and is just dark, and you know, nothing is alive. The only things alive are artificial. So this is the environment Shadow lived his whole life in. The space colony was constructed, in my opinion, as a response to Perfect Chaos coming about and destroying cities. After Perfect Chaos destroyed everything, it was clear that the world was not safe from any unexplained otherworldly attacks. So GUN was created by the government to help fight the battles that the world may come up against. The government funded many different projects and ventures to research weapons of mass destruction and other things like immortal life, things like that. But the things that were really touched on in Sonic Adventure 2 were, you know, the weapons of mass destruction and eternal life and biological things like that. So Shadow was introduced to the series in 2002 as an artificial creation of Gerald Robotnik, who was a talented and world-renowned scientist. His daughter Maria was dying of neuroimmunodeficiency syndrome. He would secretly research a cure for Maria. One of the things he was tasked with was creating immortality, which was the purpose of Project Shadow. Shadow is in every way an artificial creation, meant to harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds like Sonic. During the course of the Sonic Adventure 2 main story, it was always assumed that Shadow was the result of Project Shadow, until Rouge the Bat, who was a secret rogue agent working for the military, uncovered that Shadow wasn't the original idea for Project Shadow.
Here are the results of the research project called the Ultimate Life Form. But if this picture is of the real ultimate life form named Shadow, then exactly who or what is standing in front of me?
There was a prototype, a biological creature created on the Ark that could possibly harness the power of chaos. Could this be the ultimate life form that Gerald was creating? Was this a return of Perfect Chaos? So the first time the player encounters Biolizard in Sonic Adventure 2, which isn't the only time, you do fight him again in the final battle, which is amazing, and maybe I'll make a video on that. Throughout the story, Shadow is really just battling himself and his memories and trying to make sense of everything. And I think deep down he knew that he was a creation, and Maria wanted more for him than to be a just biological creation. So the moment that it appears and when Shadow realizes what he has to do to make things right, that was a very significant moment in Sonic Adventure 2. There's a lot of terrifying and strange monster designs in Japanese games, but one of the most horrific and sad to me was always the Biolizard. The Biolizard is ugly, it's scary, it's repulsive, it's terrifying. It was blind, you didn't even know if it could see. It didn't even have back legs. There's tubes coming out of every orifice. It was suffering. It was fueled by Gerald's anger towards the world. Completely artificially created, void of any real soul, really. He has to be constantly on a nuclear reactor life support, basically, on his back, which is extremely heavy and just hinders him and his mobility completely. And you can see that in the way it moves and struggles to move. All it can really do is just spin around in a circle, because everything about its design is just exactly what Shadow feels. It could be debated that this was mankind's attempt to create its own perfect chaos. And so there was a lot of significance with this battle because Shadow is in some way battling his own shadow, a previous version of himself, his prototype. He is in a lot of ways similar to this creature, and so defeating him is proof that he has surpassed this creature.
Do you actually believe that you're the real Shadow?
So Carl Jung's concept of the shadow is a fascinating and integral part of his psychology. The shadow represents the unconscious, the repressed, often darker aspects of a person's personality. It's everything we deny or reject about ourselves, including traits, desires, and emotions that we consider unacceptable or undesirable. And in many ways, the Biolizard was Shadow's shadow. He is in many ways no different than this creature, so battling it could be seen as a very symbolic way of refuting his own shadow. Jung believed that everyone has a shadow, and it's crucial to acknowledge and bring awareness in order to really understand yourself. And with that, that's the end of my video about this specific moment in Sonic Adventure 2. I've always thought that it was pretty intense. I loved this moment very much as a kid. I would love to hear your opinion. Please leave a comment down below, and hopefully we can turn the comment section into a forum to just discuss this moment in this game. Please subscribe if you like my content, and have a good one.